All right, it is time for some film goals, check-in, update, mini wrap-up. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you this video. This is going to be me sharing my thoughts on the last set of films that I watched for one of my challenges in the first quarter, which was to watch 10 new-to-me titles to newly added world cinema on Kanopy. Kanopy is a streaming service that's connected to libraries that has a lot of festival films, cult films, classic films, like sort of like film school films, and international film. And one of their categories is newly added world cinema. And so my goal this for the first quarter of the year, one of my goals was to watch 10 new titles from that part of the catalog. And where we left off in the last week in film video that I did, I had watched 7. So let's see, did I make it to 10? And let's see what I watched. First up, I chose to watch Casablanca Beats. This is a Morocco-France co-production. It is in Arabic. It is from 2021, and it was nominated for the 2021 Palme d'Or at Cannes. So that is pretty stellar. I didn't realize that there's 24 films are included in those nominations at Palme d'Or. It was Titane that won that year. Anyway, so I actually watched this thinking that possibly, given the name and with the cover, I thought maybe it would also double up as a dance movie. I didn't know what it was really about. It's not a dance movie. This one is actually, it's about hip hop, and it follows the protagonist. He is someone who goes to teach hip hop at an art center. And this was really, oh man, this was so good on so many levels. The acting was great. I loved seeing hip hop taught in an art center. I love seeing it taught in a classroom setting. I love seeing people talk about it intellectually, people responding to it viscerally, and also the students in the class had to also perform, and even if they weren't necessarily comfortable. And then there's that's also just like an interesting thing too, right? Because often, like, different arts, you may study them as a viewer but not necessarily also as a performer, or as a participant is not quite the right word, as someone who does the thing, who gets in the ring, who's part of the arena. None of those are quite the right terms, but I think you know what I mean. Like someone who does, not just watches and contemplates. So there's a lot of interesting discussions around that, and you know, how things shift when you have to actually get up there and do it. There were also so many different dynamics at play in this one. There was a fair amount of tension around a fair amount of the people that were in the class were not very supported by the people around them taking the class or doing hip hop. This is a drama. This is not a documentary. I know it might sound like a documentary, but it's not. Although I think it was inspired by the director's experiences. I think that was something that was said on the Kanopy blurb. I do love how many different vignettes it had for the different characters in terms of showing them in the classroom setting, but also having a vignette on sort of like what their sort of daily life was like, the challenges that they faced, the people who were around them, if they supported them, if they didn't support them, if they even knew that they were taking this class, and how much tension could be around that. This one really hit me emotionally. I was just like the intensity, the drive, the need of expression was very, very at the forefront of a lot of the stories. And I thought, and also the assumptions that we make about other people were very much, like, I wouldn't say highlighted. I think it was a little more subtle in telling that, in showing us how that can be the case, the assumptions that we make on other people. And I thought it did a really good job of showing that that's not, well, I think we should always know that that's not a smart thing to do, but also showing, that it really often can be the case that we don't know what's going on, and we don't know someone's situations, and so that was just really great. So this one was just excellent. I really enjoyed it. I just, and yeah, it was just really great. It was emotionally sometimes taxing. Like it is a drama, and it is a drama that's talking about art. So of course I'm gonna love it. I mean, of course I'm gonna love it. So, and getting to hear all of the hip hop, and that was also really cool as well. It was also really interesting to hear that, and like the rhythm of it spoken, but then reading the subtitles at the same time. Man, the translation, whoever translated it did a formidable job, because that is not, it's like translating poetry, right? Because you're talking about rhythms and rhyming, sometimes not always, but rhythms for sure. And like that is masterful. So that was excellent as well. And so I'm really glad that I watched it. It was a really good one, but whew, it hit hard, man. It hit hard. Next up, there's another. I picked two posters for that one. So again, I thought maybe it would also be a dance film. There was one character in it that was primarily interested in dance, because this is focused on one class people are taking in an arts center. So that was also interesting too. There were some people where this was the most important class to them, and there's some people that this was one of the class that they were taking, and that also shows an interesting variety in how important something is to someone. And also you can have a strong impact, be very strongly impacted by something that wasn't even necessarily going to be your primary focus, which is, again, I mean, there's a lot there. So there was that. And so yeah, Casablanca Beats. Have you seen it? Next up, I watched, this poster is in Norwegian. So this film was called Lady of the Night. It is a 13-minute short film from Norway in Norwegian. I'm not going to try. Norwegian is tough. I tried it on Duolingo. It is tough. I don't know if it was smart or not smart to try it after working on Danish for so long. It was, there's some similarities for sure, but anyway, off topic already. So Lady of the Night, this is a 13-minute short film. This one, I was not quite sure how I felt about it, because, okay, so this one, the story of this one, we have a bunch of, a group of guy friends that are getting together for a Christmas party. And one of the characters decides wears a dress and heels, and that's what they show up in. And they're and then it's all of this tension around that, a lot of joking around that. He's often not. People bug him a lot. They don't listen to him when he says to stop bugging him, and and there was just like a lot of tension around it. But I kept on feeling like I wasn't quite sure exactly what it was trying to say. Like, is it trying to depict, that women are treated differently, that if you dress differently, you're treated differently? Is it trying to say that treating people differently is not good? It's not. So this was one that I felt like it was, in terms of a short film, I felt like it presented an idea and a situation, but I didn't feel completely sure on what or if it had a resolve. Like, did it have a resolve that felt, for me, I felt watching as a viewer, I didn't feel like I felt like there was a complete resolve, and or I wasn't sure what the message was. I could be missing it. I don't always pick up on everything. Nobody does. But I do know that this is something that I felt like maybe I was missing exactly what was being like relayed. And that can totally happen. It could be like weeks later, a year later, I read a review, someone leaves a comment here, and I'd be like, that's what it was. That was the missing piece for me. So I'm not quite sure about that. I did really like the lead actor in this, and I was gonna watch this way earlier, but I did hold on watching it because the lead actor in this is also in the TV series Ragnarok, which I was in the middle of watching, so I wanted to finish watching Ragnarok before I watched this. Just, I don't know if there's no correlation between the two things, but I just wanted to finish that first. I did really quite mostly enjoy Ragnarok. I'll talk about that film, or that TV series. It's a Norwegian urban fantasy series, and I really liked it. Mostly, I had some issues with it, but generally speaking, so good. So, but this short film, I just feel like I didn't quite get it, and I do find that short films are like I will admit I don't remember if I tried looking in the comments or reviews on IMDb, or can anyone leave a review on Rotten Tomatoes? I don't know. Are short film even on Rotten Tomatoes? I just feel like there's less information. You know, if there's a big blockbuster film, there's like a bajillion reviews. But like, yeah, with this one, I didn't do deep diving. I was really trying to make sure I like really wanted to get to the end of the challenge and see all of the things. So I didn't research that too much. And I couldn't find a poster with the English title of Lady of the Night, as opposed to like I fed der love ver man. Because that sounds like, to me, with my some Danish, I feel like that says the something, the love of a man, but I don't know if love isn't love in Danish. So yeah, because I was like, is he interested in his friend? And does he think this will drag his attention? You know, is that what was going on? Are we going from friendship to relationship? You know, and then in this venue where it's like a bunch of guys at a Christmas party, was that the best time to try that, you know, or to do that? And how does he feel about it? And I just wanted to know more from both the protagonist on his choices, and also I felt like I was missing, you know, the grander message here, and I think that's more me than the film. It was probably there, and I probably didn't pick up on it. Great acting though, lots of tension and uncomfortableness, and you can feel the hurt of being treated differently, and and not being listened to. That was all very present, and I imagine very intentional, and was done very well. So yeah, so I felt like I was like 90% of the way to getting it, and then I just missed it. Anyway, on to the next title. I then watched Kamikaze. This is from 1986 and is a French film. The draw to this one was that it had Luc Besson somewhere on the title or the intro or the description or the something. And Luc Besson was one of the writers, one of the three writers on this film. Luc Besson, if you're unfamiliar, directed The Professional, directed La Femme Nikita. Did he direct the film A Fifth Element as well? A lot of really, you know, engaging, intense films from 80s through 90s, and I think now mostly produces. I've seen tons of his films. At one point I thought I was up to date, but I wasn't, because I hadn't seen this one. But I think I was up to date with what was available, you know, for rental from Blockbuster. You know what I mean? Those are the days. Anyway, so I was very excited to see Luc Besson's title available, and so I watched this. Wow. This was not a win for me. Now, I do have to notate that it is from 1986, but this was, and it is sort of this a bit like near future sci-fi kind of element to it. So it follows a character who's an inventor and or scientist who gets let go of his job and then is very mad and resentful and builds a machine to attack people through the TV, and then goes, this is getting slightly into spoiler territory, but goes on a killing spree, killing female newscasters. So I did notice that one of the IMDb reviews called this a black comedy. I did not pick up on that. I did not feel like it was a comedy or a black comedy. It just felt like misogynistic crap. Like, and I don't normally say that, and it hurts me to say that given like one of the people involved is someone I really enjoyed. It's just really just, there's a lot of hate on women. There's the hate crimes against women, and misogyny, and all of the women are pestered, and and for what? Like, why? Like, it kind of feels like Falling Down meets misogyny. Like, it's just, for me, like, films like Falling Down don't super appeal to me, or The Game doesn't super appeal to me. The Game is a bit different, but like Falling Down, this sort of like, this is like someone who's really resentful and he's going to take it out on women. I have no time, no patience for that. No, thank you. So that was, unfortunately, the 10th film that I watched, and it was actually the last film that I watched out of all of the films for the first quarter, and I was like, I can't leave it on that. Like, it was just such a sour note, especially coming from a director that I really have, or coming from someone who was involved in the work that I've really enjoyed their work in the past. And I mean, I'm sure if I went back and watched La Femme Nikita, I would see some gender issues, but I couldn't do it. So I decided to watch one more film. I watched another film on Kanopy. This one was available without any tickets required, which was good because it was the first time I actually ran out of tickets on Kanopy. And so I watched, that is the Hungarian title, Susto. Yeah, Z and an S does not something I can say. The English title does not help me. It's Chuchotage, maybe? And so that is the title. So this is a short film. It was 15 minutes. It's an award winner. I can't read it. It's from 2018. It's a Hungarian film. It's in Hungarian, and it follows two translators who are at some kind of conference, and so they're there to translate Hungarian into Hungarian from whatever language is being spoken at the conference, and they find out that they have one listener. So they decide to have a little fun and play a bit of a little game and just sort of go a bit off book, shall we say. So this one, I can see why this is a festival winner. This really is a great short film. It is a fully formed, fully realized idea, a full story from start to finish, and it has great performances. Oh my goodness gracious. The two translators are so good. And there is like a monologue in this one that's like monologue worthy. Like, it is like audition piece worthy monologue. It's not even audition because it's a finished piece, but it's just like, you could, like, if you were looking for a monologue, it would be a really good monologue, and it was really compelling. Now, it did have some gender stuff that I wasn't a huge fan of because of some complicated stuff in terms of, like, I don't want to, getting into more of it, I don't want to spoil more of it because it's only 15 minutes long, and so I don't want to say more of what the story is, but there was something that I'm just like, oh, really? Can we just not be doing this anymore, kind of thing? But the performances are so good. I also just really love hearing people talk about languages, and so that was really good, and like the whole translation, like the fine, it's just, the writing was really good in terms of like how it melded things, and the performances were great. So this one, like, I just wish like there was one gender thing it's not so much of a gender thing, it is a bit of a gender thing that just kind of bothered me, but I can totally see why this won like tons of awards for a short film. Just really, really good. And just so you know, the definition of this word that I've meant to look up but didn't is whispered interpretation. So it's the interpretation or translation of speech in a whisper to a single person in proximity of other people. So that is what the title of the film means, and it was quite good. So that was a much better note to end not only this set of the world newly added World Cinema to Kanopy II, but also quarter one as a whole, because it was officially the last title that I saw for the challenge, and I did end up making it up to 11 films from the newly added World Cinema to Kanopy because I couldn't leave it with Kamikaze. And also I think there was appropriation in Kamikaze too. It was like, why was it named that? It's not good. But I do feel like the big win, although Chuchotage was really good. For me, the big win was Casablanca Beats in terms of this set. Whew, so good, so good. Like I keep on thinking back to it. I put a couple of the songs on my 2024 playlist. You know, even though they're in Arabic, I'm like, which I don't speak. I'm like, I listen to music in other languages. I don't have any problem with that. Yeah, so it was a good set. I will do some kind of wrap up for all of the things for each of the categories of monster films, dance movies, and newly added world cinema to Kanopy. Those were the 3 categories that I was working on in the first quarter, and I was very happy to be able to watch at least 10 in each of the categories and 11 here with the Kanopy ones. It's a great service. Highly recommend checking it out. If it's not available to you, you know, Just Watch is a great app to find out titles that are available on other services. You just make a free account and it lets you know, and then you pick what you have access to, and it's just so great. Just Watch is awesome, but Kanopy is also awesome. I don't know many people that use it, but my goodness, the films that they have are so good. They are so good. I'm really looking forward to looking at like all the films together and seeing some, I don't know, commonalities or what my average rating is, or I don't know how I'm going to work out those wrap-ups and reflections, but I'm going to do them and figure out something. So, but yeah, so that's the last set for the newly added World Cinematic Kanopy. Let me know, do you use Kanopy? Have you seen any of these films? And are you interested in seeing them now? So thank you so much for watching, and I will be back soon with another video.